Hello, I'm Mike and welcome to my channel. Today, let's talk about something that people ask me, maybe not every day, but very often. And I think it's really funny because they already know the answer, but they ask me anyways. So what is this question? I'll give you a clue. If you study English with me, you can learn like a native speaker. Oh, really? The question people ask me is, how can I learn English like a native English speaker? And the answer is pretty easy. All you have to do is grow up in an English-speaking country, learn English from your family until you're 5 years old, and then go to school and study for another 13 years. And when you are 18 years old, you will be fluent enough to study at a university. But most of you can't do that because you chose the wrong parents and you are growing up in Vietnam. So you should ask a different question, which is, how can I learn English in a more natural way that is more like how I learned my native language? And well, the important thing is to start from the very beginning. And remember, we learn our native language before we begin school. And school helps us learn it more. This is really important because once we start school, we begin to study English for different reasons and in a different way than we originally learned. So it's like our brains are a lot like computers, right? And we program them in our native language before we start school. And when our brains are developed and we can use them to communicate with, and we can talk to our parents, and maybe we ask them so many questions and they don't think we're cute anymore and they don't really want us, so they send us to school. And schools use textbooks to teach you English, but they're written in English and your brain is programmed in Vietnamese. That makes it really difficult, and if you want to learn English in the fastest way possible, you should start at the actual beginning. Start with the way you learned before you went to school. It's more natural for your brain, and it can help adapt your neural programming to process English faster, much faster. I'll talk about how that works in a different video, but the rest of this video will talk about how to use this program. Okay, each lesson has 5 pages. You can download them for free, print them in color, and keep them in a binder because it will be your textbook, your workbook, and your notebook, and you will use them often. You'll also need some colored pencils, and I highly recommend a good paper dictionary. But you can use one online if you want, that's okay too. And of course, you can communicate with the other students and with me in the comments section. Okay, here are the parts of the program. And it's all free, just download it and print it and keep it in a binder. Um, each lesson has 3 levels of vocabulary, We'll talk about them in a bit. 5 exercises, 2 study videos, 2 quizzes, 1 test, and 1 test video. Okay, if you like what I'm doing and if you want just a little bit more, or if you just want to support me so I can spend more time on this channel making lessons for you, consider signing up for a premium membership. You can enjoy all the great free stuff, and you can also come to my members only events and have access to chapter tests. Okay, so the first part on page 1 is at the top, and it's for notes. Some parts of the notes will come pre-filled with something that I think is interesting or useful. And on the left side, you can check off each exercise after you finish it, so you don't lose track of where you are in the lesson. Okay, the first thing we do is learn how to pronounce the words, and the second step is to see how the words are used in every possible way. The third step is to make mental connections and identify patterns of meaning and sound. Okay, for best results, you can practice pronunciation by becoming a premium subscriber and joining our online practice events, or practice with the video. I recommend recording your voice and playing it back to compare it to mine. Okay, for vocabulary, this program gives you a couple different options. Each lesson has 3 levels. Level A is basic communication English. Level B is more advanced vocabulary related to level A. And level C is figures of speech like phrasal verbs and idioms about the same topic. This means that you can study each lesson from the top to the bottom to learn about one specific topic. Or you can study the same level across many different lessons to increase your general vocabulary at that particular level. Pronunciation is always the first thing we practice because it's the first thing we learn in our native language. The second most important thing is seeing the vocabulary used in every possible way so you can begin to notice patterns. But here's the thing, and it's time for some real talk, folks. No one can write a textbook big enough to show you all the ways every word can be used, because it would be as big as a dictionary, because it would be the dictionary. And also, they couldn't sell you textbooks if they said, here, just read the dictionary. But here's the good news, and I know you might not like it, so feel free to leave a comment and hit the dislike button 2 times if you don't like it. But hear me out first. Reading the dictionary is exactly what you need, and it's free. But don't try to just memorize all the definitions. Find each word and read all the different ways it can be used, and write 10 interesting examples in exercise A1. And join the discussion in the comment section. Okay, and here's an example of level C. In the video and in class, we'll use these figures of speech and these idioms in examples, and we'll use them in the exercise. Okay, exercise 1 is a word journal. This is so you can develop your personal vocabulary and your own speaking style. When you are reading the different ways to use the words in the dictionary, list 10 examples. Okay, not 10 examples from one word, maybe one example from each word, or 2 examples from one word and no examples from another word, or whatever. Total of 10 examples. Okay? And review your notebook at least 3 days a week and make flashcards for the vocabulary if you need to. When you're ready, take the quiz. Okay, quiz 1 is just about vocabulary levels A and B. All you do is listen, write the English word, the pronunciation from level A, the meaning in Vietnamese, and 2 related English words from level B. And you check your answers when you are finished. In exercise 2, you will practice listening. I will read a conversation that uses many of the vocabulary words, and your task is to listen and write as many of the vocabulary words as you can recognize. In this example, there are 17 vocabulary words, and you should listen and replay the video until you have found at least 14 of them. Next, write the vocabulary from the lesson under the pronunciation and use colored pencils to shade the word according to its type. Then practice the conversation with a friend in class or with the video. Okay, after that we will have a break for meme time. I love memes, you love memes, everybody loves memes, so let's use memes to study English. English humor is a very good way to understand the language, so we do that here. Okay, part 4 is where we get into the really fun things like grammar and spelling. Ooh. But we don't actually talk about grammar and spelling that much. The focus is to use your subconscious mind to recognize patterns of sound and meaning that we call grammar and spelling. And we use color to learn the grammar, and we use lines and circles to indicate how the spelling changes based on how the word is used. Okay, exercise 5 is a chance to practice the vocabulary that we've been learning. So we just practice writing some sentences or some questions with the words in this lesson, and only the words in this lesson. So you can use any word from anywhere in this lesson, but if it's not in this lesson, don't put it in your sentence. Okay, and these sentences are another chance for you to improve over time. So when you review your notebooks, be sure to check your previous sentences and correct your mistakes, make improvements. And you can also ask for help in the video comment sections or come to our members only events and we can talk about some of the answers together. Okay, quiz 2 is about comprehension and of course listening. So in part 2.1, just listen and write the sentences that you hear. In part 2.2, you put the sentences in correct order to give a simple answer to a common IELTS style test question. Each lesson also has a test, which is just like the first two quizzes, and it lets you keep track of your progress. And there's a separate video for the test as well.